Greetings. There may have been just a slight problem with the audio, but hey, we're online. There was a show that I linked in the video description that I did with Rebecca Davis on her channel about the Big Bang. Toward the end, someone named Andrew Cumming, a sophomore, I believe, in evolutionary biology, pathetic field of science, and he's trying to defend the Big Bang Theory. So, toward the end, he brought up this paper and he said, look, he challenged me. He said, you claimed it was, I made a reference to someone named Hawkins. I said, Hawkins had shown that the quasars don't have a blink rate that's consistent with time dilation and redshifts. I know this is really technical. This is nerd torture-y stuff. And then he said, look, there's right there, it says Hawkins. Right there in the paper. That was the paper we were talking about supposedly yesterday. He made a mistake, and I let him get away with the mistake at the time because I just accepted it on faith. I gave him the benefit of the doubt that we were talking about the same paper, and we were not. He gave a paper the prior day in a side chat, and this is the title. And this is the title of the paper he gave me in the side chat. And let me just show it to you. And I asked him like 5 times. I said, Andrew, where does it say that redshift is, there's time dilation in the redshift? He couldn't find. Asked him 5 times. He could have given me the correct title. He did not. He referred to this paper. The reason I found it was this is the title he provided. So, and I just said, I couldn't find the name Hawkins, and he claimed this was refuted Hawkins. And I couldn't find the name Hawkins. Well, the next day, Rebecca and I were on her channel, and Andrew comes in to the studio and starts talking, and he says, Sal, you said you couldn't find it in that document, and there it is. Well, he switched the document. Probably a mistake, but that's on him, not on me. He put up another document, and it did have Hawkins' name in it. That I'm trying to fix this because that looked bad on me, and I said, bad on me, good on you. I take that back. The referee needs to call that back. Bad on him, that was okay with me. And I specifically said, why can't you find the search term calibrate? I said, can you do a search on calibrate? He said, I can't find it. Well, duh, it's because it's a different paper. So, mark against Andrew Cumming on that. And then I did look at this paper. And there are some things that are subtle that you need to know before we assume that this is good stuff and it really did overturn Hawkins. Because this paper does claim that it overturns Hawkins, I don't know that it really succeeded. And we will let things roll where they will. And this is submitted in the archive. I believe it ended up in the physical review letters. And I really want to point something out. He says, okay, let me show this article here. And this is technical. And let me see if there's a way I can increase. Okay, I can increase the size. Thank God. Okay, it says, we focus on data consistent with observations over an interval longer than 90 days since it allows for more reliable identification. Okay, so now I got to show you something. There is a figure here that says F. F is the flux. Okay. Now, it was providential that Andrew gave that miscitation anyway, because it has interesting data here. So let's look at how F is calculated. F is calculated with this value M. M has a Z dependence. And if you're, okay, so, all right. This is not good if you're trying to establish that time dilation has a relationship to Z when you already have Z, that there's a dependence on Z by time dilation, but then your whole measurement already involves Z. So, and I'll elaborate a little more, but so at least for the first section of the paper, where I believe the first graph is drawn, this already has Z incorporated into it. Just needed to mention that. Okay, so now this graph here, they don't explain really their methodology, and it looks kind of suspect. It's only one piece here or there. So they talk about, he says, we choose a quasar that was not included in our sample of 13 quasars. Okay, guys, you need to, it's more believable if you're not just, how many of you eliminated? Why only one? Hawkins used 400, you're only going to use one to make a relationship? And then you don't, let me show this here. They're going to pick out segments here. How are these picked out? 9.5. Okay, so this is 95484.25. Okay, now let me go to this other paper. I'm sorry. Where was it? Hand. Okay, previous work 9. Look at reference 9. Let's see what reference 9 is. Okay, so reference 9 is the paper Andrew was showing. But I want to show a subtlety here. So it's referencing this paper that Andrew is presenting as proof that Hawkins was overturned. This is only one quasar. If that's the only measurement you have, yeah, okay, we call it n equals 1. But you really want to have a large sample size. Okay, so would you base your theory of that you could beat the casinos on one game or one trip to the casino? No, you'd want large numbers. Okay, so that's one thing. But I need to point something out. So they gave a little better description of what was going on. And what did they say? Except, and I'll focus on this word hand. The previous work had hand selected, as in cherry pick, cherry pick, cherry pick. Well, let me just keep reading this. This is troubling. Why do you have to select it by hand? When you select something by hand, that means you could select something favorable or unfavorable. There's no control here. All right, the previous work of our reference 9 had hand-selected approximately linear segments spanning 90 days in the quasar's rest frames and made linear fits to each. While this was sufficient for their purposes, we require a less subjective analysis. This was subjective. Okay. Andrew's going to claim that his paper overturns all this. I can't believe this passed peer review at Physical Review Letters. That's a prestigious journal. They're admitting this was a subjective analysis. It overturned. And this is, okay, this kind of bothers me. This will all play out in the end. But why am I confident that Hawkins is right? Or generally the Big Bang is in big trouble. The gamma ray burst phenomenon that Crawford found, that's good. The supernova light curve, and I called Andrew on this. He said it was refuted. A 2008 paper refutes, I said it refuted it. Did it mention Crawford? A 2008 paper is going to refute a paper that Crawford wrote and published in 2017. And he said, did you ever read it? I said, no. Why should I bother? This is illogical. You don't refute a paper in the future that doesn't even get published. If you're citing that person by name and that paper by name and that publication by name, I mean, maybe the data you have might refute it. That's okay. But if you're citing that publication by name and it's in the future, there's a problem there, especially if, your refutation is 2008 of a paper that is written and published in 2017. I said, Andrew, that doesn't fly. Sorry. Not worth my time, buddy. I called him on that. And so we will read Crawford's 2017 paper, God willing, at some point, if I can get around to it. I'd like to thank Andrew, though, for these publications. At least I know what the other side has. And so that part stands when I complimented him on that. But I take back that it was bad on me that I didn't, that I claimed Hawkins wasn't in that paper when it wasn't. But then in another paper it was. And he was pretending that was the same paper. Or thinking that's the same paper. I have a problem with that. That's bad on him. But thank you anyway for the paper, Andrew. You're going to overturn Hawkins' result with subjective analysis? And okay, let me just read a little more. A popular idea is to apply neural network, which is trained to select linear behaviors from noisy signals. But as this would also require a study of the effectiveness of the neural network itself, we have decided to go through with a more elementary approach. And then, okay. Okay, it talks about subjective parameters here. I'm like, dude, this is Physical Review Letters. This is problematic. I'm sorry, this is hilarious. You're going to try to overturn a previous study with their subjective parameters? And you're openly admitting that, okay, you're trying to overturn a study with subjective parameters. You're admitting you only had a sample of one, which is a lousy sample size, and then it was handpicked for our purposes, but we want something less subjective. I mean, dude, why don't you self-center and not try to publish? I can't believe this flew through Physical Review Letters. So, that's what I have to say. There's no sense beating this horse right now anymore because there's just a lot we don't know. We'll let it play out. And but I don't think Andrew's proven his point, and he can go back to evolutionary biology. It's probably where he belongs anyway. So that's all I have to say. So I'm just going to close this out. I'm going to probably read Crawford's paper in more detail. I was not impressed with Andrew's attitude when I was showing Crawford's paper. He seemed so dismissive, and I said, dude, that's not the way to refute this. Why don't you try to replicate the results? Stop quoting papers, try to understand it. And he kept repeating the same thing. I got tired of it, tossed him from my channel. If he shows up here, I'll toss him again. He showed up again on my channel in a sock puppet, and I really tossed that. That was really rude. I believe in freedom of the press, and that means the editor, and on my channel, the editor is me. The editor has editorial discretion as to what gets published and what doesn't. Look at this channel as a publication, not as a platform for people to just spew whatever they want with no regard for the owner's mission. Andrew wants to have free speech. He can build a YouTube channel, but you can't force people to listen to what you have to say. Because then you actually destroy freedom of the press by spamming of the press. And I don't tolerate that. You know, if people want to listen to what Andrew has to say, they can find him. There is a... rather not mention the channel's name. I'm going to get mad. I mean, it's run by some cyber stalker that I just totally detest. And, you know, Andrew can hang out there. Anyway, thank you for watching. I may have another stream shortly on biological matters. We will cover more about the Big Bang if God wills and allows time. I'm really busy right now. Thank you all for watching. Take care and God bless you. And let's see, what will I finish this beautiful stream out with? Why don't I finish it out with Olivia again? So take care and God bless you guys. Thank you very much for visiting.